Humans are an interesting species. None of the things you identify with are actually you. We're not our bodies, we're not our thoughts, we're not our emotions, and we're not even what we create in the physical world. We are the awareness that creates and animates the body, that decodes the frequency of the thoughts we pick up on, that translates energetic pockets into the emotions we feel, and infuses all of these experiences with meaning. Because meaning is information, information is knowledge, and knowledge is the power that realizes understanding and ultimately wisdom. All thoughts, emotions, and experiences are made of energy. Energy in different states of perception that, when combined, animate the body and gives us this human experience. Everything you want to do, change, achieve, or manifest requires energy in some form. The challenge is that we are not taught to control our energy, so we leak it, depleting ourselves by giving it away to the outside world, and therefore unconsciously creating it. This is why trusting ourselves is hard, because it's hard to trust what we don't understand, which is why the most important work you'll ever do is your own liberation. To control our energy is to understand it, because a different understanding inspires different actions, which will yield different results. There are a lot of things happening in the background, in our unconscious and subconscious mind, that we benefit from springing forward into our conscious awareness, so we can begin understanding our inner disharmony. So let's start by talking about our energetic makeup. Humans are a complex system made up of 4 different parts, or bodies. We have the physical body, we have the emotional body, we have the mental body, and we have the spiritual body. And the communication between all these different aspects of ourselves can take many forms. Our mental body is our egoic mind, and it translates the information in our biofield into thought patterns. Our physical body uses our sensory perceptions to hallucinate our reality so that we can then interact with. Our emotional body bridges the physical and mental bodies to make meaning of our senses, thoughts, and reality. And finally, our spiritual body houses all of the other bodies and connects us with everything in existence. Our overall well-being is dependent on bringing all of our bodies into alignment to understand ourselves, to understand how we think, why we feel what we feel, and how we are contributing or co-creating the world around us. All modern-day afflictions are a direct reflection of the disharmony between these bodies, including on a collective and even planetary level. The mental and the physical bodies carry the masculine energy necessary for creating the world of matter. They are the doing aspect of ourselves, the yang, the structure, the control, the linearity of creation or planning. They give form to the formless. They are the objective experience. On the other hand, the emotional and spiritual bodies are the yin or feminine aspects of creation, the being, the pure essence, pure presence, untapped, the feeling the moment or the subjective experience. All humans possess this unique inbuilt system that guides us towards wholeness, equanimity, and unity. But if we all have this emotional GPS, why is there so much suffering and conflict in the world? Why do we keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again? If you look at the state of the world, you will notice that our focus has been geared towards the yang or masculine aspects of ourselves. This means that we are deeply entrenched in a patriarchal paradigm whose focus is on the physical form. These are themes regarding survival, beauty, aging, strength, and mental. Focus on productivity, direction, intellect, judgment. The original purpose of the physical and mental bodies is to act as a container for our experience, for us to experience ourselves as individuals and to organize those experiences in ways that support our growth and evolution. However, because of the quality of our experience, say how we feel about things is what gives meaning to what happens to us, the external world will never be enough or become the substitute for what we're missing inside. No thought or action have an intrinsic emotional meaning. For something or someone to have meaning to us, we need to connect with them. That's how we make them meaningful. Overthink is a good example of this imbalance. When your mind races, your brain is either shifting through similar past experiences to find an explanation for those uncomfortable sensations in your body, those emotions, or is trying to deploy unhealthy coping mechanisms to numb your discomfort. The thing is, those emotions might not even be a sign that something is wrong with you or that your life is, out of control. You could be just tired. Perhaps you didn't sleep well last night. Maybe you're hungry or dehydrated. Maybe the stress you feel is purely physical. And if so, maybe you're adding more suffering to your pain by trying to avoid it. The more in touch you are with your internal guidance system, with your emotions and feelings, your creativity and intuition, the more you can recognize the connection between your inner and outer world, the interdependence of your yin and yang aspects, and understand your relationship with yourself and with everything and everyone that you interact with, physically and mentally. The challenge that most of us face is that we spend almost half of our waking lives not living in the present, not accessing our yin qualities. Our minds are in this constant state of mental churn, reflecting on the decisions we made, coming up with ways to distract ourselves away from pain, ruminating over the conversation we had yesterday, and worrying or catastrophizing about what might happen tomorrow. We also spend most of our lives being programmed to rely on authority figures or experts like our parents, our governmental institutions, our teachers and bosses to tell us what choices we should make. We unconsciously follow along with the status quo that tells us what it's right, what it's valid, what to choose, what it's valuable, and who is worth to get it. In the midst of trying to fit in, to feel safe and a sense of belonging, we lose trust in our own judgments and in our openness to take risks and be ourselves. We exhaust our will trying to fit the yin in the yang. Our desire for approval and recognition makes us lose trust in our own self-worth. And since we can no longer rely on ourselves, we distrust our abilities to make our own decisions. The thing is that we get 100% wrong the choices we didn't make, because the aspects of ourselves that we deny or suppress to fit into society's standards, desires, and expectations don't go away. They are filed in our subconscious and we no longer have conscious awareness of them. This is why self-awareness is so challenging, because to accept the parts of ourselves we have disowned, we need to bring them into our conscious awareness. We need to acknowledge them, listen to them, and feel the pain we cause ourselves when we dissociated from them. We need to feel the void they left when we deny these missing aspects of ourselves, aspects that are at the core of our self-worth, our self-confidence, and self-esteem, such as courage, resilience, and self-respect. If life is just a series of choices, which road do we take? Do we take the safest road? Do we take the most sensible one? Perhaps we should take the one that everyone says we should take. Or do we follow our heart's desires and take the path that is often unclear, uncertain, and can lead to loss, failure, pain, and growth? How do we know which road to take? How do we know which decision to make? How can we trust ourselves to make the right choices for us? We need to learn more about ourselves so we can follow our inner authority. In today's society, we worship the intellect to the detriment of our feelings because we have been unconsciously training our ego to seek validation from the external world. Logic become a survival instrument of the egoic mind, so it doesn't like dealing with the things it can't see, prove, measure, or understand. We feel safer when we can explain things scientifically because it appeases our intellect. And this is a problem for our inner guidance because as a yin aspect of ourselves, it does not operate inside the limits of the physical and mental bodies. Intuition lies in the eye of the storm, but for the logical mind, all it sees is the chaos around it. And this focus on the chaos is what makes you believe that to follow your inner guidance can only lead you to failure. However, the only way to disprove it is to follow it and let it confirm to you that that cannot be so. Your inner authority is there, whether you believe it or not. The question is, are you going to listen to it? Are you going to trust it to guide you? Are you going to trust yourself to serve your best interests? And what does that mean to follow your inner guidance in the first place? Inner guidance is comprised of two aspects, intuition and intention. In its purest form, intuition is this immediate insight without any logical input, an invitation from non-conscious emotional information that is waiting for you to accept it. If you catch the message brought forth by your intuition and choose to act on it, that movement that directs your attention, it's called intention. This is what it means to follow your inner guidance. Intuition and intention are both an expression of desire, but one is unconscious emotional data requesting to be processed, which is always in alignment with what you need to experience or learn, often through recognizing feelings you have been suppressing. And the other is you agreeing or aligning with your desire to act on it, take on the challenge, and grow. Many people fear following their inner guidance because they believe it will lead them astray. In fact, this fear is perpetuated by many religions that gatekeep spirituality and connection to the divine by acting as the middleman. The truth is, you can go straight to source, straight to the inner wisdom that we all have if we listen to our inner authority. By first making contact with how you feel, think, and how you experience your inner reality, you can subsequently take action in the world outside of you. The purpose of our intuition is to guide us to fulfill our purpose. And this purpose is not a destination, but a journey of learning the lessons we are here to learn. We're free to ignore that inner guidance and follow paths already carved by others, but we'll ultimately find ourselves back to where we need to be in an attempt to learn the lessons we came here to learn. Look, I get it. We want feelings to be logical because our minds want everything to make sense and to be predictable. But our true power is in our ability to feel, because our feelings determine how we think about things, the words we use, and ultimately the actions we take. Not trusting our inner guidance means not trusting ourselves. And not trusting ourselves is what leads to self-abandonment, because we are dishonest with ourselves, disregard our needs, do not honor our feelings, and often violate our boundaries, all aspects that determine the quality of our emotional health and impact our self-love. This is why not listening to our intuition is one of the biggest end-of-life regrets. It's an act of self-betrayal that leads to self-hatred and sorrow. In contrast, when we listen to our inner guidance, we welcome the yin or feminine aspects of ourselves. This inner knowingness has a better overview of your situation than your conscious awareness, and through your intention, it can establish the connection that allows your yin and yang aspects to interact with each other harmoniously as they were designed to. We can gather all the information we can to make decisions, but then we must go within and wait for the yes or no response from our inner guidance. Sometimes we override our intuition at our own peril, and that is how we find ourselves in unhappy relationships with other people, other things, and ourselves. We just get caught up in all the filters and limitations set upon by our egos. We attach ourselves to these self-concepts that narrow our ability to see the bigger picture for ourselves. How would you feel if you had no fear? What would you do if money was no object? If you allow yourself to pursue your creative passions? What would your life look like if you followed what brings you joy in every moment of your life? What would your experience be then? That is your deepest desire. That is your purpose and mission here on earth at this time, and the way you go about fulfilling that quest is by listening to your inner guidance. In the next videos, we will explore the different ways your intuition communicates with you, explain the difference between the voice of your intuition and the voice of your ego, that sometimes can be very loud, and show you what you can do to improve your relationship with your inner authority, so you can power up your decision-making skills and learn to unconditionally love and trust yourself. Stay tuned.